So, hello and happy New Year 2024. Isn't it cool to wake up in the morning on the first of the year? It's a new day, it's a new year, it's a new opportunity, it's just a new everything. So, resolutions in all this cool energy it can be very powerful. So, did you guys do your resolutions yet for the new year? I did. Oh my gosh, things are so incredible. I'm pretty excited about all the things going on. So I'm checking in with you about that and how are you all doing? And 2023, thank you for being gone. Learned a lot, went through a lot, and it was all fantastic and meant to be. And I'm real happy about everything. And the new year is bringing so much wonderful opportunity coming. So anyway, I also wanted to leave a brief um, New Year's message about the approach of the new year. I've named my new year. So name your new year something that you really want it to become. So that would be, mine is 2024 is the dream come true year. So every dream come true is going to come true this year. And that's the cool thing about who we be that we're learning more and more about is that we're very powerful and we can influence outcomes in all kinds of ways. And all it takes is an awareness of our consciousness. Consciousness means our awareness. Our awareness means what we're looking at, what we see. And so that's really important. What we see, in our imagination or what we actually see in the environment, believe it or not, the mind cannot distinguish between those two. What it sees inside, meaning our imagination, or what it sees outside, it thinks it's real. So that's what the secret of manifestation has to do with that, to know that part, that component. So anyway, so 2024, dream come true year. So I have a lot on my plate I'm very excited about. I'm going to start a podcast called Quantum Living. That's a name after the book because there's so much wonderful, wonderful reviews coming in of people transforming in ways that are just miraculous, truly miraculous by what they learned in the book. And what they learned in the book primarily was the concept of letting go of judgment and having judgment as a, what would you call, evaluation source or tool, isn't as effective, as it turns out, than staying in higher state frequencies, as Tesla would say about frequencies. And so anyway, that's the message then for today. We've kind of just eased into that without any thought to that. But so Tesla, of course, this famous quote, one of them, he has so many, my goodness. But the most famous, it's being repeated because it's pertinent to the quantum living, meaning at the speed of life. Things are moving really fast, right? And so how do you keep up with the speed and be able to see at the same time? Is so cool. It's so we can get this today, and then our work is to stay in a higher state, as a dominant consideration before we make a call, before we go do anything, to get in a high state, and the outcomes are very different. And then that's how you can move at the speed of life, regardless of how fast the speed is. And so, because it keeps up at the same pace. So anyway, so Tesla's famous quote, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. By the way, Tesla is right there. Yes. This is my podcast. I'm going to start a podcast, and this is my background. And for the podcast is going to be all the people I referenced in the book. Albert Einstein is here. You can see over here is another of Tesla and Dr. Edgar Mitchell from Apollo 14. You can see him. Let me move this over this way. And then Dr. Emoto, he's the water guy that showed visible evidence of when we put our attention on something with a certain attitude, it can transform a molecular structure of something. And he did that with water as the most receptive So anyway, that's Dr. Emoto. And then here is Eckhart Tolle. A New Earth is what he wrote, which was fantastic in every possible way. And then over this way is Greg Braden and Stephen Jobs. So all of these people are, and behind me, this way is, that's someone named Scott McKay. And Scott McKay has been a podcaster long, long, long time. And his podcast is called Patriot Street Fighter. And then this woman that you see here, her name is Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, and she has harnessed Tesla energy and technology into frequencies and has now created centers where there's screens emitting frequencies that raise our own frequency. It's like really incredible. And these centers that are being built, or people, some have them in their home and invite people, like ones I've been to here in Arizona, that are incredible. You just sit there and close your eyes and meditate or dream or whatever you'd like to do. And then you leave. I can't describe it. It's so peaceful and happy. I mean, you're like, I'm driving now and look at all the people. This is so fun. And I wasn't drinking, it's the frequencies that come from her technology. So she's now become a really big deal on the planet. It's called Energy Enhancement Systems. And it's very cool stuff. So anyway, so all these people I've referenced in the book, and am now surrounded by them as the backdrop for the podcasts that are going to begin soon. And those podcasts are going to be called Quantum Living, because it's all about quantum living. What do we do now to learn how to live in now? Because now is getting faster every day. And so in every moment in a lot of ways. And so anyway, with that said, the part that I learned, so when I read that quote again about energy and and Einstein saying everything's energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Einstein quote. And so anyway, with that, I started pondering those two quotes of these two people that I have been, dramatically influenced by. They're just wonderful. And thought, well, what does he mean? Like everything is energy exactly. What's everything mean? Everything means everything. Well, what does that mean? So after pondering it for a few weeks, I just had a strong hit that, well, wait a second, if everything is energy, then what that means is genius is a frequency. It's not a brain capacity thing. It's not a IQ, intelligence quotient. It's a frequency, not a brain thing. And then on top of it, I had been guided, if you will, to look up quantum realm on the internet, and I did. And in doing that, I came across a book named, yes, you guessed it, folks, The Quantum Realm, written by Mark Montgomery. And Mark Montgomery he's doing amazing thing with kids, making quantum and learning about it really cool and fun. And he defined, and this is the moment that my brain exploded, he defined quantum. Like, what does quantum mean? And he defined it as the ratio between the amount of energy spent to the magnitude of the result. And that quantum is influenced by intention. And highest intention is being of value. And then I've been teaching value exchange dynamics a very long time, and it all came together. I've been doing quantum for a very long time without realizing it. And because little effort, giant results, that's happened again and again and again. And so anyway, with people I've been coaching with now with others, right? So that's very cool. But it was my practice since I was 27 on value exchange dynamics. And so what's in the book, I've lived verbatim. And so here's what I've realized, and I want to pass on for the New Year's message, is that the high state frequencies have intelligence in it. So I did some events in Denver called Intuitive Intelligence with Dr. Jan Bellerman, because intuition has intelligence in it. That means information. So let's say you're sitting at a dinner of 6 people and you get this hit to go home. I need to leave right now. They're like, what do you mean? What's wrong? Just call them. No, I'm getting a strong hit to leave home. I'm gonna, no, stop it. You're just, you're tired. That's what people say. That doesn't make any sense, right? Well, we're not looking for making sense. We're looking for intuitive vibrations that provide information to act on it. And they're all personal, individual. That's what's so cool about intuition. By the way, where's my Edgar Mitchell? Here's Edgar Mitchell right here, right there. So Dr. Mitchell in that picture, also he has a quote on there I've used on my quantum living seminars that say, isn't it about time we call intuition the first sense? Because we usually say, oh, I have a sixth sense about that. So we say rather than 6, it's about time we call it the first, because it is, and it provides tremendous information. So anyway, with all of that, that's that my brain was exploding about how cool is all this, because that means the highest state frequencies in the quantum field that are filled with all kinds of information that Tesla accessed and Einstein accessed and all kinds of people that I used to refer to as it's reserved for geniuses only. That's not true. You and me, regular people, have the opportunity to access that same frequency, because it's a frequency. It's not a brain thing. It's a frequency thing. And how cool is that? Now, in going down that path, and then, huge part in the writing of the book, I started to learn at deeper and deeper and deeper levels how important our attitude is, and how important how we feel is. Because our attitudes, what we think and how we feel, and our belief systems have frequencies in them. And frequencies, energy interacts with itself in a likeness attracts manner. So if I'm thinking there's no opportunity, well, guess what my experience is? There's no opportunity, because I created that. So that just means no opportunity for me. Not like the whole planet, it's for me, because I think that way. And so what you put your attention on gets bigger. It's end of story. It's not more complicated than that. And so and because I've spent some serious focus and time and priority, I've made high state attitudes a top priority before I do anything, because I'm about to duplicate that. So I make it a top priority, stay in high states. And how do you fast, quickly get into a high state from a lower one? You wake up grumpy. I don't know. There's bills to pay, and the money is changing, and the economy is changing, and all of that. And so that's a fear-based frequency, by the way, and that's a, really low state frequency. And it can dominate and override the frequencies of our higher states, because it's so intent, and it's the subject of our focus is that. So we then duplicate that, and then it lingers because we're feeding it, if you will. So anyway, what I have learned by staying in higher states is all kinds of creativity that's blowing my mind in ways I've never had before. I'm creating in my dreams. Do you know? I was thinking about the podcast I'm about to begin too. And like, what's the backdrop? Everybody has a backdrop of some kind, books and pictures and blah, 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 blah. And at midnight, I wake up because I have this dream. No, surround yourself with the very people that inspired the podcast and the book in the first place. I was so excited. And I happened to have pictures of all these people from doing seminars and what do you call PowerPoints, right? So I have these pictures already in my PowerPoints, and I just enlarged them and made them my backdrop, because they're the reason that this is happening at all in my life. And as a regular, simple person myself, I want this for everybody because it's so cool. Because when you get in a higher state, you do have intuition. And the intuition is where it shows up, and you don't have to do anything. Intuitive intelligence, you don't have to do anything. There is information that shows up out of nowhere, and you say, where did that come from? I had so much information flowing up, showing up and flowing, that I didn't know where it came from when I first started in value exchange dynamics and consulting at 27. And when that happened, I went to a friend who's a librarian and a researcher. And I said, I have all this information. I don't know where it came from. Where did it come from? So we researched. He's a researcher and couldn't find access to matching the information that was flowing in yet. And now that's quantum. That was not the subject when I was 27 or 8 or 9 or 30 and so forth. And it was amazing. It's kind of like, we felt like Tesla. I mean, excuse me for putting my humble self in that same category, but he was in horse and buggy days and candlelight for light, for seeing days, as he was born in that era. And how did he see and know about all that technology? Look up Tesla and patents. And know when he got those patents, there was no function. There was no need or access. There was nothing in the culture that was a match for cell phones. And he called it words in the air. Then that technology is our cell phones. I mean, believe it or not. And guess what? Free energy and all that is coming because of Tesla. It's that cool. It's that cool that he accessed that in the higher states, frequencies, because there's information in frequencies. So the point of this is that these things are very real. And as long as we can retire negativity, it's a really good idea to say, I don't feel like I don't feel like judging anymore. Somebody cut you off on the freeway, make up a story to short circuit the negative energy. They're probably rushing to the hospital because their daughter got in an accident at school. I hope they get there safely and she's okay. And then you don't judge anymore. So any way to stop that, because the judgment is a low, dense, thick, slow frequency. So whatever we're setting our annual resolutions for will come faster in higher speeds, that the frequencies are higher speeds is the point. Not to mention you get guidance on the way through. And the guidance is to suddenly pull over here and go in that office, which I did. I did exactly that. I had someone in my car at one point, and I was at a stoplight, and then I got this hit to go in this building that was on the other side of the street right now. Had no idea why. I flipped the car around, a U-turn, and my poor guest was like centrifugal force against the passenger door. And I went inside and there was a woman standing right there. And I was actually, I just mentioned I'm doing this event and I just felt compelled to be here. And she said, oh my gosh, I'm looking for exactly that. I mean, it was so incredible. And that was, I don't know, 18 years ago. And and she is the number one person that I have acknowledged in the book, because she's become a significant, positive, loving, fabulous influence in my life. And that came from an intuitive hit. If I did not listen to that, I would not have made a U-turn for no reason. My guest did say, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you okay? I will be when I go in there for some reason I don't understand right now. Do you know what I mean? So it can be really fun and really funny, but it's how it works. And so our number one priority is to find a way to stay in higher states. And if you can't, because the challenges are significant, which we have some of those going on, think of a time that's easy to pull up, if you will. That is a memory that is undeniable, when your baby was born, when you got married, something wonderful in your life, some tremendous event that happened, some great goodness that came to you from someone that's so that you can't, it's top of your mind. And then just then start to feel that, because the like HeartMath Institute has done on their studies, that how we feel is 5,000 times stronger a signal than anything we're thinking. So to manifest that feeling of gratitude is like, it's the most powerful frequency in the universe. Apparently, it's the highest state. Another way to get in a high state quickly is to intend to be of highest value to anyone who crosses my path today before going outside. And the thing that I found interesting when writing the book about Nikola Tesla is that since he was like 6 years old, he invented a compass or something at 6 years old, but his whole life, he was only here, as he put it, to harness nature for the benefit and well-being and the quality of life for humanity on this earth. It's all he thought about all the time, was that. He didn't get married, he didn't date, he would not be willing to be distracted for any reason other than that purpose. And I believe being of value to others is such a high state frequency that creates our own access to the higher states in the quantum field. And it's a big deal to be in those high frequency states, because what seems to be, I think only because of volume and noise, but what seems to be dominant is a lot of negativity and saying, you're not what I am, therefore you're bad stuff is going on all over in all kinds of categories that isn't even worth the air to talk about. Because it's all divisive, it's all negative, it's all pointing and blaming and judging. That is the exact opposite of our human nature. We were born to contribute and make a difference. That's who we be. That becomes the actual catalyst to going in higher states. Is when that happens. We've all done it, where we've done a charitable something in a situation for someone, and we just like, what is it, Habitat for Humanity stuff. People come home and go, what an amazing day with a group of people, was fabulous. So being in a higher state is a very big deal. And chapter 9, in fact, in the book, is called the resonance effect. Resonance meaning frequency, is what actually happens in miraculous timing when a group, and the group could be 2, 3, 4, or more people that are all on the same page to be of highest value to something or some situation in society. That's such a high frequency collectively. It's like a choir going out, vibration going out into the community. That is a beautiful song that makes people feel amazing. And somehow they find you. It's incredible stuff going on with that. So anyway, I wanted to encourage and wish for you the high state frequencies, and anything negative saying, just because I can't see the good doesn't mean the good isn't there. And you can say that in the worst of situations, because good is emerging all over the place from the very traumatic lockdown we all went through for a couple of years. It was intense. And so it's time to change that now and look at that as not a bad thing, but something that we've learned from. We've all reevaluated our lives during that time period, and, and how do we move forward? And so I've been reinventing myself too. And it's very cool and it's very fun doing it from high states, not from desperation. So I'm looking forward to manifestation year in 2024 from everything I dreamed for the last couple of years. And several are happening. I'm getting offered interviews on other people's podcasts that really want to talk about this subject called quantum living. What does that mean? We need to know about this now. And so there's one coming up very soon here in Arizona. So I'll get back to everyone and let you know how that went and hopefully have a recorded copy of that and get that posted. So make 2024 your dream come true year. So that there's two things that we need to do in our new year of manifesting miracles. Number one priority is staying in high states, no matter what it takes to do that. Sometimes I crank music and sing along in the car and feel better when I get out of it. Sometimes it's that. There's all kinds of ways to get in higher states, but make it a priority. Number two priority, now that you're in the higher state and you get intuitive hits or intuitive impulses that are giving you information to move in a certain direction or do a certain something right now. Listen to that. So practice, that is a practice to get an intuitive hit and listen, because no one on the outside is validating your intuitive hit or my intuitive hit. So I stopped asking because that doesn't make any sense, is what I've heard a really long time. So I just move according to the intuitive hits and they've all turned out. I've been so grateful, like God's hand in my life has been guiding it this whole time through really hard times, and really wonderful times are unfolding now. So I'm looking forward to all of it. And so we'll be doing classes and I'll be doing a podcast that will have no money involved. I'm just letting you know that up front. A lot of podcasters are doing a bunch of stuff, selling stuff. And so, and pushing number of people, because then they get advertisers and then push the advertiser. So I won't be approaching it in that way. They're welcome to do that. And, God bless them all for giving us information we can't get anywhere else. But that won't be my podcast. So I'm just letting you know that. That's coming soon. It will be Quantum Living. I'm set a goal to be on TED Talks this year and do some, larger speaking engagements. This is a very important subject and it couldn't be more timely. So with that, again, make 2024 your dream come true year. And we'll talk again soon. I look forward to seeing how it's unfolding for you in January. So love you all. Thank you so much for being here and have the best year ever. Bye.